Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. As always, Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, joining you on a winter, stormy morning. Is that how I define this?
Yeah.
How was your drive?
It was fine. I think people, you see what the weather looks like. I mean, it gets a little intimidating, but at the end of the day, just go slow. Just go slow. Like that's all right. That's all it is.
I'll share Fish's sentiments. If you're out there going to work,
drive safe.
Drive safe, please. Having said that, don't drive like an asshole and hold up the rest of us. Okay? Just drive cautiously, switch lanes cautiously, but don't sit there grandma style or driving 10 over the speed limit, slipping and sliding and causing an accident, and then making everybody else late. Okay? So do us all a favor and learn how to fucking drive. Having said that, there's people in life you meet, they need to learn how to drive, for example. They're like Fish. They need to learn how to have some social skills. I don't know. The point is, you meet people in life and they need help. And this morning, Mel Kiper released his first 5 of his 1.0 draft. Now, what does that mean for the Detroit Lions? Well, in theory, it should mean nothing because Mel Kiper's a goddamn idiot.
I have who he takes.
Having said that, who he took is unbelievable. We'll start at number 1, the Chicago Bears. Rightfully so. I do agree with this, by the way. I don't mind it. Jalen Carter, number 1 overall.
There you go.
Does anybody have a problem with this?
Build your defense around him.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay, pick number 2. Now shit hits the fan. Pick number 2, the Houston Texans take C.J. Stroud. And it gets better.
That's got to be based on physical tools, I think, I would assume. Bryce Young's size. Okay, but anyway, go on. C.J. Stroud goes 2. Has to be.
I can't.
It's not based on...
Arizona, Will Anderson Jr. I can respect it, but whatever.
Yeah.
Pick number 4. The Indianapolis Colts take Bryce Young. And then Will Levis goes 5 to Seattle, which leaves Tyrese Wilson, which leaves Miles Murphy, Brian Burress. You name them, they'll be available in this mock draft, which I find very interesting. And the funny thing is, we were doing the show, we were going to come out with a different topic, we were going to start off with a different segment and kind of just get the Wednesday going. And then we look to our left and Mel Kiper's on the screen being a jackass, having Will Levis go before Bryce Young. Or vice versa, whatever it was. C.J. Stroud going before Bryce Young. What are we doing here?
He was the first quarterback off the board.
How? Why?
Like I said, it's got to be... He's 6'3", he fits the mold. Like, the only knock on Bryce is his size. That's it. Like, if we're talking playing the quarterback position, he's better than C.J. Stroud. But it is what it is. It's Mel Kiper's mock draft. It's funny because Mel Kiper can be wrong so much. And, like, I remember Braylon's story about how he was, like, the 7th ranked receiver on his big board back in the day. It's like the guy he's wrong so much, but people still go and look at his mock drafts.
Yeah, I don't even care. Look, let's be real here, right? Not everybody nails the mock drafts. It's very difficult.
And he actually, to his credit, he did a pretty good job last year. If you go back and look at his mock draft.
So, I don't mind, but when we're going to have a conversation here about Detroit and where they sit at 6... in his version, that's a disaster for Detroit. It's a disaster. Because Carter, Anderson are off the board, right? And so are the 3 quarterbacks, which eliminates what, Jeff? The ability to trade back to a team that would want a quarterback.
Yeah.
So the idea that Indianapolis, Seattle, and Houston all take a quarterback, that is problematic. I don't expect that to happen. I don't expect Seattle to take a quarterback. I actually expect them to take somebody on the defensive side of the ball, but beyond the point. Mel Kiper's first mock draft, very bad for Detroit.
Can I read off both the picks?
Yeah.
I have the 6th pick and the 18th pick and what Mel Kiper does. The first one, and I've seen this on a couple other mock drafts as well. Tyree Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech.
Can I ask you something before you go to 18?
Yes.
Would you draft an edge rusher at 6?
I would have an issue with it.
Would you? I'm not asking if you'd have an issue.
Yes.
I would pass because of Houston, Kaminsky, Hutchinson.
But what if the best player available is an edge rusher? Would you sacrifice would you go a little less?
But I can't work with it because it's not real yet. I would love to trade back.
Yeah.
If there's a quarterback out there, somebody wants him, I don't even need a haul. I'll trade back 2-3 spots. I'll get my corner at 8, 9, 10. I'll move on with my life.
Let's say you're stuck at 6.
You're stuck at 6.
Are you going best player available, or are you picking positional? Like you're going to take the best corner?
Depends who best player available is, right? Because I have my foundational rules when it comes to the draft, which we'll start with the mock drafts coming on later. But tell me who he has at 18.
So 18, and this actually, I don't mind this one. Christian Gonzalez, corner out of Oregon.
Okay, look.
Depends now who was on the board. I got to see who was on the board.
I'm not gonna say it's shit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I would prefer Devon Witherspoon and Joey Porter Jr. over Christian Gonzalez. Gonzalez to me is a Pac-12 corner that's not polished, has the size though, has the intangibles, has the likability of a guy you'd like to draft and take a chance on.
Right.
I'm going with Joey Porter Jr. in that spot. And if Devon Witherspoon's available, I'm going in that direction.
Yeah. You don't know if Porter was. I would love to see the entire mock draft. It just shows the Lions pick. This is
we don't.
By the way,
this
is SI.com. So this is John Macaroon, our good friend of the show. He put this article out there. But
this is released for everyone who doesn't have ESPN Plus. He released
my man, my man. But they did. I wish they would have showed the entire thing because I could have seen where Porter or Witherspoon. Because I'm with you.
You guys are very. So look. It's early. It's January, all right? I don't mind some of you saying Gonzalez will be long gone, right? We don't know yet. We'll see how the board shapes out. We'll see the combine. We'll see how everybody does. When they practice in their underwear, everyone's going to get a boner, all right? Cool. Having said that, I don't think from now you can predict the board for any of these corners. You've seen people have Witherspoon as high as 6, as low as 15, 16.
But they got to test.
I understand, but you don't know, right? Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and speculate on who will be available. All I know is, based on Mel Kiper's, I'm just going to talk about his. I think that's a bad mock for the Lions because you eliminate the idea of trading back. Now, do you like Myles Murphy? Do you love him? Do you like Brian Burress? Do you want to take your corner at 6? I don't know. You guys all have your preferences. I'm not releasing my mock draft for another week, 2 weeks. So I'm chilling. Not spoiling anything yet. Having said that, very interesting. Very interesting. And again, positional needs or BPA. What would you do? You asked me this question. I'll ask you it right back. What would Jeff Iafrate do?
At 6?
We're going to play that game, by the way, at 9:30, but you'll figure out what that is on your own.
If I'm at 6 and I can't trade back, if I don't feel comfortable taking some of these corners at 6, unless Brad Holmes feels like they can develop into a top-tier corner, I'm taking the best player available. And that's probably going to be a defensive tackle, Brian Burress, or a Tyree Wilson, whoever that is. I don't mind that. And where you're at right now is the Lions. I like Houston, but still, at the same time, like if you could take somebody that can play edge, can get moved inside and play defensive tackle, I'm going with that player. So I don't mind the BPA approach. I don't.
Double D asks, is there anything wrong with Okudah putting on a little bit of weight and using him as a hybrid linebacker type? I'll tell you the problem. He would never do it. Good tackler. Very good tackler. Couldn't cover my mother on a one-on-one route. Having said that, well, that's why you have to draft a corner, Jeff, right? That's why you have to draft a corner.
That is why we're looking at corners.
So,
yes.
Chief says cornerback at 6 is stupid. And you guys all know how I feel about secondary players at the top of the board. Right? Picks 1, 2, 3, even 4, I find unacceptable. Having said that, Sauce Gardner, the exception, he's worked out all-pro rookie year. He is exactly what you wanted Okudah to be when you took him number 3 overall. Fair? Cool. Number 6, I can justify a corner. At least I believe so. And you guys know how against it I am. But I truly believe I can justify a corner at 6. Why? What am I looking for? I'm looking for Patrick Surtain. I'm looking for, look, Jalen Ramsey, I want to say was 5th overall, but you're still looking for an exceptional corner. I just don't break my foundational rules at 1, 2, and 3, hell, even 4. And yeah, you say, well, what's a 2-pick difference? It's a big difference. Financially, it's a big difference. And your impact on the board, it's a big difference.
Right.
Because if you're picking in the top 3, top 4, Jeff, you probably need a quarterback, probably need an edge rusher before you even need to consider a corner. It's just how it works. So positional value is a big thing for me. I think what Mel Kiper has presented us this morning is a disaster in terms of what the Lions can do flexibility-wise. They can't trade back in this scenario. They can't. Someone's going to trade up for Myles Murphy or Brian Burress.
Right.
Does it make sense to me?
And if you're in a tough position, number one, the corners. That's why we have these conversations about what corners we prefer. You got to see them go out and test at the combine. That's gonna be a big part of it. I mean, you saw Sauce last year run a 4.40, and that obviously boosted his draft stock even more than he was already projected. But moving forward with the Lions, you're in an interesting position because if you can't trade back and you're sitting there at 6 and you don't pick till 18, if you pass on a corner, the question is, do you feel like at 18 you will get a similar quality player? And you could argue you wouldn't. So that's why I would have a
very good argument. I would agree.
Taking a corner at 6.
But again, I can justify 6 because I can justify Surtain at 8 or 9.
Right,
depending on the player.
Right.
Having said that, best linebacker versus best corner available at 6, who would you take?
Well, best corner.
If you could get the best corner or the best linebacker in this draft, who would you prefer?
Best corner.
I'm not talking about a player.
Best corner.
See?
Yeah. I didn't think about it for a second, but yeah, best corner.
For the Lions, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It just does. But we'll move on. When we get back, an anonymous NFL executive says that the Detroit Lions in 2023 will do some damage.
Smart man.
Smart man? Was it leaked? I don't really care. But I will say this. I think there's a growing sentiment across the league. And they just look at that team and say, they're going to be a problem next year. Jeff and I will tell you why coming up next. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Swiss can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance, give them a shot and you won't be disappointed. Contact them, Mark at SwissINS.com for more information.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com. as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward.
All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports.
Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. WoodwardSports.com, a blur. I don't even know how to describe the weather right now. It's kind of shit. It's starting to snow more.
Yeah, it's
so everyone driving and listening right now, please be safe.
I was going to say it's going to get worse throughout the day. So
is it?
Yeah.
So my wife, all she told me was,
thank you.
Wake up early, start the car, and dust off her car for her, which I did this morning.
Oh, what a nice man you
I know,
are.
what a man.
Hey, clap it up for Adham.
I
What a
know.
great
He's a
guy.
man's man.
I know. Anyways, the point is, she told me it was going to be really bad. She told me to leave work early, but I can't do that. So
Yeah,
we
well,
are.
I'm 10 o'clock. Escaping.
You're just going to get the hell out of here? You're going to go watch some Australian Open?
I mean, that's tonight. I will be watching that. But
Who's
before
playing
that, who's playing tonight?
Yeah.
They got the women's, and there's the second men's quarterfinal.
So we're not watching. Okay, what else?
What's wrong with the women's tennis?
I didn't say anything. I just said we're not watching. I had nothing to do with women. I think you're putting words in my mouth, buddy.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. But there's Motor City Cruise tonight that you guys should tap into.
Never.
What do you mean never?
I would rather get fucked by 7 dudes at the same time than watch the Pistons or the Motor City Cruise play.
Alex, you got a
go there
comment?
with it?
I apologize for the vulgar language. Okay, I apologize,
Wait,
but they're really bad.
Hey, they won in overtime on Monday.
Whoa! Hey, honestly, you know what's sad about saying that? Because
It's true.
well,
That's why it's sad.
the Motor City Cruise beat the Wisconsin Herd
Yeah.
on Monday.
Hell yeah, they did.
The Wisconsin
No,
Herd.
hold on.
Let me tell you.
Let me tell
Eric got it.
No, but here's the ironic part of it. It was the same night the Pistons got obliterated by the
Yeah.
Bucks. So the Crews won,
They
but
did.
the Pistons didn't.
God.
So
Hey, don't you want to see the young talent that the Pistons could call up? Maybe some guy
I don't
balls
know. I
out,
can't
scores
hear you
50.
because I'm gonna have 7 dudes filling up my ears, my nose, and my mouth.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing, Fish. You're too young for
No,
this. Anyways, moving
I
on. Let's get back
get
to
what
the
you
show.
mean.
Sorry about the vulgar language, but
I don't think you are.
I had to explain it the only way I know how to. Having said that, an anonymous NFL executive says that the Detroit Lions will do some damage. In 2023, a lot of people...
It's probably just Brad Holmes.
It's probably just Brad Holmes leaking it. Hey, I got a story for you. Oh, what do you got, Brad? Well, I need to be anonymous. Okay, what do you got? The Lions are going to do some damage.
That's my guy.
Oh, man. Oh, God. All right. So, we're going to see a lot of this offseason. It's going to grow from now till the draft. And come training camp time, there is going to be an overwhelming amount of national outpour in support of the Detroit Lions. I would say 80% of national pundits, 80% will pick the Lions to win the North next year. 80%. Mark my words from now. And I think 95% locally in this town will pick the Lions to win the North. That is how confident people are becoming in this team. That's how dominant they were down the stretch. And it's very simple to me. Who are you? Who are you, Dan Campbell? Who are you, Detroit Lions? Who are you? Are you the 1-6 team that I saw fumble away multiple games to start the year? I don't think so. It's in you, but I like to believe that's not the case. Are you the 8-2 team down the stretch? Maybe the record is better than your talent, but I like to believe that was more of an indication of who you are, what you were building, how you play, how good your offense was. So I'm inclined to believe, yes, I do think the Lions are going to make a serious run next year. Now, are they legitimate contenders where you look at them going into next year like the Eagles were this year or the Niners? No. No, I think they're one more season away from that. But we're talking division title, playoff success, at least a playoff win. I think you could pitch it to me, and it would make sense next year.
Yeah, at the bare minimum, I think they could do what the Vikings did. I really do. But the question is, now that the national media is high on them going into next season, now that local media is high on them going into next season, now that they, even their own players and Dan Campbell and the coaching staff, are high on them going into next season, Brad Holmes, so on and so forth, how do they handle that pressure? That's really the big thing for me because, yes, you're 1-6. I mean, no one's really talking about the Detroit Lions outside of us, and then they go on the run. They're doing it without really any pressure on their shoulders. There's really no expectations. We had expectations locally. I asked for 8 wins. You asked for 7 wins. At least 6 wins was ideal, and they did that. But how do they handle this pressure going into this season where there's legitimate expectations to not just improve, but to make the playoffs at the bare minimum? I mean, you contend for your division. And if everyone's picking them to win their division, the Lions fan in me comes out and says, ugh, when they're supposed to do something, it feels like you have less confidence they'll actually do it. But this is different. Brad Holmes, Dan, what they're building is different. And you saw the blueprint of what they did last year down the stretch, 8-2, and it can be replicated as long as the defense plays the way they did and the offense continues to have success. But the reality is, that's the question I have, is now with these real expectations, how do they handle this? You're not going to be able to start 1-4 next year and pry yourself out of a hole. You got to come out and play better off the get-go. You can't go 1-6. You at minimum got to be what? Through 6 games, probably 4-2 to be at least in that conversation. I'm assuming Minnesota has another good season. So that's the big thing to look for, especially in a young team. A lot of guys in their second year. Jared Goff, I think, will be fine. The offensive line, the veterans. But the question I have is how do these young players, especially defensively, respond to now more pressure and expectations to make the playoffs? That's the big one.
Can I pivot real quick? Breaking news.
What's breaking?
This really upsets me.
Wait, really? What is it?
Yeah, this really upsets me.
I feel like you're about to...
I'm deeply offended this morning, actually. This is really disturbing. Scott Rowland, congratulations, by the way, inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And Lou Whitaker still isn't.
Oh, my God.
Go fuck yourselves. Each and every single one of you voters. Disgusting.
That's a crime.
Disgusting. Lou Whitaker, 300 more hits. 20 more triples. Only 40 less home runs. Only 200 less RBIs. More stolen bases. More walks. Similar batting average. Same on-base percentage.
Oh, my.
Similar slug percentage. Slight difference in OPS. Excuse me? Scott Rowland's in the Hall of Fame. And Lou Whitaker can't get it. That is...
Yeah, that's absurd.
That is hilarious to me. Man. All right, back to the conversation. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I saw Lou Whitaker get into the Hall of Fame.
No, I think we needed to,
or,
to bring that
I saw
up.
Scott Rowland get in. I thought of Lou Whitaker right away. It's hilarious. What do you do? I don't get it. I don't get it. Baseball's a joke.
Yeah, I don't either.
I grew up loving baseball. It's a joke.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame voting is all across is a joke.
But continue on.
That was the kind of the premise of my point. Is I'm very interested to see how this young team and how Dan Campbell, if anyone can get these guys on track and not let the outside noise affect him, it's obviously Dan Campbell. But a lot of second-year guys, I'm curious to see how they respond to being division favorites next year rather than last year playing with really house money. That's really my big concern going into next season.
Is it house money though next year?
Oh, I meant
thought
last
this
year. I meant last year. Like you're 1-6, you go on an 8-2 run. It's like, oh, cool. And now this year, you're division contenders.
Teams are going to take you more seriously.
Right.
I think there's that factor. Now, I don't think teams are sitting there on Monday morning coming in. The coaches are talking. They're like, "Oh, we got the Lions this week. Hey, boys, take the rest of the week off."
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's the NFL. All right. Having said that, though, there does come a point where not only expectations change, but perception changes.
Mm-hmm.
I see this with the Bills. And I want to get to Brandon Beane later and his comments on their build, their salary cap, what they've done, the issues they have that the Bengals don't have. That's all great, but this is what happens when you're successful. When you have a successful team, if the Lions are going to have a successful team for years to come, they're going to have to pay a premier edge rusher, a premier wide receiver. They're going to have to pay their quarterback. They're going to have to pay their offensive line. And that's just to keep the core together. That doesn't mean you're missing out on 2, 3, 4 players you really like that you just can't re-sign because you can't afford them. So now that you're entering this stage, which is expectations, you're demanding success. Okay, now that we're here, which is amazing, How do you seal the deal? Well, it's not as easy as saying, well, we'll have a top 5 offense again. I think I reminded all of you of this. You were throwing to Khalif Raymond, DJ Chark, and Josh Reynolds the majority of the year. No Jameson Williams. St. Brown was your only star player. Okay, cool. Moving on. What do you got to do? Well, got to get Jameson Williams involved. Got to improve the defense, and you hope to God that the offense can deliver somewhat what it gave you, 90% of what it gave you this year. 90%, 80% even would be exceptional. You got to coach better in the fourth quarter. You got to hold on to fourth quarter leads. Got to be able to win on the road. A lot of what they did down the stretch, you need to do for a whole season now. And if they can do that, Jeff, then yeah, I think we're going to be talking about a team that's competing for the division.
And isn't it nice, too? I feel like these are the steps of turning kind of the mold. I know the actual Lions' historic failures are never going to really go away. But like you said, changing that perception, it kind of starts with things like this. Like, oh, the Lions are going to do some damage. That's how it starts. And then you get to a point where you're some of the better teams in the NFL, and it's kind of just, it doesn't have to be said. It's just, it is what it is. Like, you know, the Bills, the Chiefs, now the Bengals, they've changed the perception of their franchise. Not that they were deep as a hole as the Lions, but still, now they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders every single year. The Lions will get to that point, and you won't see things like the Lions will do some damage next year because it'll already be known.
Jeff,
they'll know they're a legitimate contender. They're still everyone's little brother right now.
Can I ask you something?
Just want the Lions to be hated.
What do we talk about Brad Holmes? What do we always talk about in terms of his drafts? When you can stockpile consecutive drafts with multiple picks,
right,
multiple hits, you turn into what? A contender. We've seen the Chargers, we've seen
the Bills,
the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs. We've seen all these teams, but I want to point out the Bengals, because what the Bengals have done is something beyond special. They started in 2020. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, okay, the following year. Jamar Chase. Okay, I mean, you got some nice players in there, but nothing crazy. They got their kicker, Evan McPherson, but it was this past draft, Dax Hill.
And free agency, too.
And free agency, Von Bell. You had
Trey Hendrickson.
Jesse Bates,
and
Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard.
Yeah.
A lot of free agent spending that you don't associate with Cincinnati, right? So they were able to spend because Higgins, Burrow, Hill, and Chase were all on rookie deals.
Right.
What do the Lions have? Hutchinson, St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Kirby Joseph, Jamison Williams, all on what? Rookie deals. So you have flexibility, and now you're recovering from the mistakes made by previous regimes. But this is only going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
This is only going to get better. I'm really confident in what the team is doing. I like the direction. I would agree with this executive. I think the Lions really have a bright future in 23. I think anything short of competing legitimately for the division would be a massive disappointment.
Yeah,
I think that's the floor. You need to be competing for your division from week 1 to week 18. And if you lose the division but make the wild card, so be it. You can accept it. You competed, no problem. Year 4, go win the division. That's the expectation, fine. But for next year, if you don't compete for the division, you don't even have a chance, I think that's a massive failure.
Yeah, it's ideal. You gotta be at least making noise in that window for the rookie
you were
contracts.
5-1 in your division.
Absolutely, and there's proof. But the goal is to win in that window for all your best rookies. The Bengals are doing it right now. You don't want to wait till you have to pay these guys to really contend.
All right,
Let's do it.
Here's what we're going to do. We'll take a break. When we get back, Trey Lance. Trey Lance, the former number 3 overall pick, is on his way out in San Francisco if Brock Purdy gets them to a Super Bowl. Should the Lions make an attempt for Trey Lance? Do you think the Niners would even consider giving up on him? I don't know. We'll have that conversation coming up next, but before we do, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Planet Fitness, home of the Judgment-Free Zone. Sign up today, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. What are you waiting for? Visit them at planetfitness.com or go to one of their many, many Metro Detroit locations. Sign up today, $10 a month. Let them know Woodward Sports sent you.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups.
Detroit fans were there.
4 World Series wins.
Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Let me tell you about my good friends over at Bedrock Detroit. They present them in Rose Street Midway. It's all decked out all winter long. Make sure you visit downtown. Check it out. Shop, eat, and play all winter long. Winter bumper cars, puck putt, foods, drinks, you name it, they've got it. Check them out. Bedrock Detroit, thank you so much. As always, we're back.
Are you happy this morning? Because you look happy. I mean, maybe you just were, now you're not, but...
Is that...
That's supposed to be a compliment. I can tell you didn't take it as one.
Or he could take it as you said, he looks happy, like he's never happy, which honestly could be true.
I mean...
But he looks the same. He's always even keeled.
I mean, there's moments where he's happy, though. Like, when you win money off of National Football League games. That makes you happy. I mean, hey... This weekend will make you happy, or it should. I mean, Australian Open tennis, how do you not? Listen to Jim Courier in my ear. Oh my gosh, it's like one of the best moments ever. I look forward to that every year. My eyes get heavy at 5 a.m. after being up till since 3:30, and just fall asleep listening to Jim Courier. Goodness me, that guy can marry me. I'd love him. He's my dad.
He's your dad.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com
But you
as
didn't
always.
answer my question, though.
Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate. Jeff, should the Lions make an attempt to go for Trey Lance this offseason if he becomes available as a viable backup quarterback, or should they pursue a quarterback in free agency?
I mean, I'm going to pull a Neil here. I was told this team needs a backup. So it depends what the asking price would be. If it's expensive, no, I'm not interested. But if they're getting rid of Trey Lance for a second or a third round pick, I wouldn't have an issue with it. I like Lance. I'm a little more. I come from a different. I don't want to call it bias, but I've loved Lance even in college, and I just think with Lance, he's young. He's still going to sit behind Jared Goff. I don't mind it. Again, it's just really what the asking price is. I can see a team like Tennessee paying a little more than the Lions would for him. I think there'll be a lot of teams at least interested, but it just, to me, yes, but it depends on the price tag. I'm not paying a lot for Trey Lance. I'm just not. I mean, they have to get rid of him if they don't want him part of the future. And I think Trey Lance still has some upside. So I wouldn't mind it. I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't do it, if I'm honest with you. I think, to me, this is as simple as, what does the money tell me? Okay? If I'm going to pay $8 to $9 million for a backup quarterback, I'm either A, going to go get the best one in the NFL, just being honest, or B, I'm going to draft one at number 6 overall. I'm not giving up picks to take on that money for a guy who was selected 3rd overall.
Right.
He's going to cost a lot of money to sit, and I don't even have a future for him. Right? To me, a backup is a guy that will never be the future.
But how do you know
you
don't have a future for him? I don't think he'd be a career backup. I still think he has talent.
Ooh,
and if he's sitting behind Goff, you might be out on Trey Lance.
Well, I don't need to be out. But what I will tell you is he's going into his 3rd season. So would I rather have him for 3 more years or draft my guy at number 6 overall and have him for 5 years?
But what if you can get the best player at 6, a great player at 18, and you have Trey Lance? Like, you can have
injury prone, hasn't shown he can throw the football. What does he do well? He runs. What do you know? Another running quarterback is hurt?
And by the way...
Oh, my God, Adam's racist. Another running quarterback is hurt.
But injuries, you can't...
You can't predict injuries. It's unfortunate. I get it. It's not fun.
It's like if Josh Allen got hurt. Oh, he's a running... Like, things just happen.
I get it.
I can't really say
but
just
Josh
because
Allen
he's a running
is a
quarterback.
freak just like Big Ben was. They're anomalies. They don't count.
When you look
at sample size data, right? When we look at data in general, we take out any abnormalities. What does that mean? We take out the extremes on the high and the low side. What is the consistent median average? We're going somewhere in the middle. Tell me what's real. Is a future for an NFL quarterback Jamarcus Russell on average? Is it? On average. For the average NFL quarterback, would their career be like Jamarcus Russell? Yes or no?
For an average NFL quarterback?
Yes. You would say no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Would the average NFL quarterback, right, statistically, have a career like Tom Brady?
No.
So why the fuck would I take the lowest of the low and the highest of the high into consideration? See what I mean? When we're talking about Trey Lance, maybe they love him. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. You're asking me if I would make an attempt for him if I was in charge. I wouldn't. I'd rather just draft my guy, have 5 full years. Or, if I'm going to pay that kind of money, I just go out and get the best available backup quarterback. A guy who's a veteran. A guy who, if Goff misses 3-4 games, I can rely on to win 2 or 3 of them. That's it. That's all I want. I just want a backup. I'm not trying to replace Jared Goff. Dude's coming off a Pro Bowl year, in my opinion. He was snubbed for it. His best season since 2018. Yeah, I'm going to pass on getting anybody in here. But if you're going to ask me, I need to bring in a quarterback tomorrow, it's either I'm going to free agency or I'm going to the draft. I'm not considering Trey Lance.
I think this is more on the part of me. I don't want to draft a quarterback, and if you can get a flyer on a guy who was taken, 3rd overall, I get the money. That's part of it. Yes, you're correct, because I'm big on the money. That's why Jeff Okudah, to me, $9 million, $10 million, Like now we're talking something different. But for Trey Lance, who I still believe, I'm not out on Trey Lance yet. And even the first year, he played 2 games, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was 1-1 during that stretch. But I think Trey Lance, it's not like you're paying for strictly just a backup. I mean, this is a guy who could be your future. But again, it would have to be something cheap. It would be like a flyer for me. If it doesn't work out, you wouldn't.
Why don't you just draft one in the 3rd, 4th round and forget the idea?
But I think Trey Lance is better than any quarterback you'll take in the 3rd, 4th round. I mean, who are you taking? Max Duggan? I think Trey Lance is better than Max Duggan.
How do you make that? How do you come to that conclusion?
Because I've seen what he could. I don't know what Max Duggan is going to do in the NFL.
I haven't seen what Trey Lance is going to do because he's looked like shit when he's played.
Well, I've seen his first year, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, looked good. We only seen 1 game of him this year in a monsoon, so I can't really say this year. Yeah, you know what you have in Trey. He looked good. 2 games, Adham, 5 touchdown passes in his rookie year. So that's where I'm at with this. At least I have tape on Trey. But if you want to go with the salary, I have no problem with that. I really don't. And by the way, people were talking about draft capital. I don't really think a 3rd round pick would hurt the Lions. I just don't. But
I do. I think they need a kicker. So you got to draft Jake Moody.
Okay, no, but that's my point. I'm not giving up a 1st round, early 2nd round pick. I'm taking a flyer on Trey Lance. I have no issue with that.
I get it, buddy. I get it.
But hey, it's my opinion. It's all good.
Well, look, you're gonna either like or really hate my opinion coming up in about 6 minutes. We got to talk about Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. You're already shaking your head because you know where I'm going to go with this. We'll have that conversation coming up in a few. But I want to wrap up with one thing about Trey Lance, okay? Moving past him. The idea of going out and acquiring a quarterback, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Financially, to me, it doesn't make sense, okay? We know how much he costs. He costs a lot of money.
Right.
I'm going to pass on him for anything. For a 5th round pick, I'm going to pass. Why? Because if I'm going to spend that money annually, Jeff, I would rather just take my guy at 6, at 18, or in the 2nd round. Or I'd rather just go pay $3, $4, $5, $6 million a year for a backup who's proven himself to be a backup in the NFL. I'm not interested in Trey Lance, who I don't know his upside, and if I'm honest with you, if Kyle Shanahan's willing to move on him, and so is John Lynch, I don't want to be the team that gets suckered into taking a chance on Trey Lance. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, but I think it's more. I think it's just a weird fit with that 49ers
It is
offense.
now because you have Brock Purdy. Jimmy G's going to leave.
Right.
If Brock Purdy wins this game against Philly, God, we might be talking about the next Tom Brady, and I'm not talking about him being the next great. I'm talking about a guy that steps in unfortunate circumstances,
right,
and just wins. Remember, Brady was a game manager his first 5, 6, 7 years in the NFL. And then what? He developed his game, and then it was Wes Welker, and in came Randy Moss for that year and a half, and it was special, and then he became an unbelievable quarterback that could throw for 4,000 or 5,000 yards now and 30, 40, 50 touchdowns, okay?
Right.
So you don't have to be that early on. You can develop it. We've seen it before. We've seen Drew Brees develop. We've seen even Andrew Luck develop, even though he came out the gate special, but that's a whole different thing. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with the quarterback decision. I'm going to avoid it.
Okay.
If you put a gun in my head and said I have to take a quarterback or I have to get one at $8 to $9 million a year, I'm just drafting him at number 6 overall. If I had to. Not my preference, but you put a gun in my head, I have to take a quarterback, whether it's in free agency, Trey Lance, or anybody else in the NFL, or that pick, I think I'm taking a quarterback at 6.
That's okay. We could agree to disagree. I'm a little different on my stance on Lance. So
that's fine.
I would rather take Lance for a 3rd round pick. I wouldn't have an issue with it, but we'll see. He could go for much higher. And I think there'll be a team that'll be suckered into paying that. I do.
I just hope it's not the Lions.
Yeah, no, I'm not paying a 1st or 2nd for him.
I just hope it's not the Lions. Let's take a break. When we get back, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. Who's the better quarterback right now? Now, everybody in the room is shaking their head and saying Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to make the case for Joe Burrow coming up next. No, that doesn't mean Patrick Mahomes is shit. It just means I have a preference. So, we'll have the conversation. You can tell me why I'm wrong. I don't mind. But it's my opinion. We'll do that next. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at the Lobster Food Truck with Cousins Maine Lobster. Cousins-MaineLobster.com. Check them out. What are you looking at me for, dipshit? Yeah, I know. Then I realized it was me, fucking asshole. Anyways, Cousins Maine Lobster. Scan the QR code on your screen. Check them out. Lobster Maine roll, lobster tacos, clam chowder soup, you name it, they've got it. Scan the QR code, find out where their food trucks are, and treat yourself to a delicious, delicious lunch on a beautiful, beautiful day here in Michigan.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win.
Woodward Sports,
Detroit's winning sports network.
Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Jeff, can we start the conversation by agreeing that Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now?
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Okay, so right now we're talking about the 2 that are the best at their position. But I think Joe Burrow right now is playing at a higher level. And not even that he's playing at a higher level. If you asked me today who I would take, I would take Joe Burrow. And it's not a knock on Patrick Mahomes. It's not a knock on what he's accomplished. But man, there's something about Joe Burrow where you just look at him and it has greatness written all over it. Not that Mahomes isn't great, by the way. He is. He's exceptional.
What do you look at when you look at Mahomes?
No, they're both great.
Of?
We just agreed they're the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. So anything I'm about to say is not a slight or a knock at Mahomes. But Joe Burrow, to me, is, by definition, the exact thing you would want in a quarterback. And for me, if you ask me to pick today, Joe Burrow's 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes. He's never lost to him. Beat him last year in the AFC title game. He's played 2 full seasons. He's been to 2 AFC title games. Mahomes has played 5 full seasons. He's been to 5 AFC title games. These guys are going back and forth right now at the same pace. Now, Burrow hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, and that is the one thing Mahomes does have on him, but this isn't about who's accomplished more. This is about who's playing at a higher level and who's a better quarterback right now. And to me, I think that's Joe Burrow. That doesn't mean Mahomes isn't greater historically, or that he doesn't have a better resume, or that you couldn't make the case that Mahomes is better. It's none of that. And I'm not going to sit here and argue with you that it's Joe Burrow and you're wrong. No, Mahomes is fucking special. He's great. He's unbelievable. But you guys are going to ask me who I would take this morning? I'm taking Joe Cool. Joe Burrow is unbelievable. I think he's playing the quarterback position at the highest level above anybody in the NFL. You're looking at me like
based
I'm
on
crazy.
what? No, I want to hear more. So based on what? What makes you say that? Based on what? The performance against the Bills, or you're talking statistically?
Well, no. It's this whole year encompassed. It's the last 2 years.
Right.
I look at the last 2 seasons. Who's played at a higher level than Joe Burrow? I think you could make the case for Patrick Mahomes only. But outside of that, who? Nobody. Nobody's played at the same level or higher than Joe Burrow the last 2 years. The only one you could argue, which is the guy we're having a conversation about, again, I'm not diminishing what he's done, is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes this year, 40 touchdowns. Joe Burrow this year, unbelievable. Leading the Bengals again, doing it all on the road. 3-0 in road starts in the NFL playoffs. 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes all time. You're smiling over there. I got to let you talk, so go ahead.
Tell me where
I
laugh when you say he's playing. In terms of playing the quarterback position, no one's playing at a higher level than Joe Burrow. But for me, and I'm just speaking for myself, I look at passing yards, touchdowns, and your quarterback rating. Those are pretty important stats for quarterbacks.
Say it again.
Passing yards, touchdowns, quarterback rating. Patrick Mahomes was first in all of those this year. So what are we basing this off of?
Okay. Well, I like to think that quarterbacks that complete their passes at a high percentage is valuable.
Well, it's funny when you're completing passes when you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Hayden Hurst, and Joe Mixon in the backfield.
One season without Tyreek Hill.
I mean,
one season,
dude.
He had 4 with Tyreek and Travis Kelce, but. No, why is it a knock on Joe Burrow? It's not a knock on Patrick Mahomes.
Hold on. I'll let you talk. Now let me talk. No one's knocking Joe Burrow on the offense he has, but I'm stating facts. Does he not have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and Hayden Hurst? Please, am I wrong?
Don't say Hayden Hurst, but yes, he does have a very good offensive.
He has a complete offense, and again, it's not taking anything away from Joe Burrow. You're misconstruing my point. The only point I'm making is look what Patrick Mahomes had to work with this year. Who's his best wide receiver, please? Juju Smith-Schuster, your favorite guy? You love him, don't you?
It's technically Travis Kelce, but I get what you're saying.
Travis Kelce is, I'm saying wide receiver.
I get it.
But Travis Kelce is the number one option for Patrick Mahomes. He's the only option. He had 14 catches, last week. What are we talking about here? So I'm not mad at you that you picked Joe Burrow, but to say that no one's played the quarterback position at a higher level than Joe Burrow, what? Patrick Mahomes... 41-12 this year, first in yards. He's going to win another MVP, and that's with just Travis Kelce.
So again, you're talking about accolades.
What are we doing here?
You're talking about accolades. You're talking about things that I'm not taking into consideration. Because if we are, then it's clearly Mahomes. Because he's accomplished more, he's won more, he has more touchdowns, same amount of interceptions, but more touchdowns for sure, more yards.
More productive with less
This is not a statistical argument. I'm not making a statistical argument.
But you just said he was played at a higher level.
You're only looking at the stats.
What are you basing it off of?
What I'm looking at is a guy who leads his team. And again, you can make the case for Patrick Mahomes. The last 2 years, who's won the most meaningful games, who's went on the road and won in Kansas City, who's went on the road in the AFC title game and won in Kansas City. I'm looking at Joe Burrow right now. I'm trying not to get caught up in what Mahomes has accomplished. I'm looking at what Joe Burrow is doing right now, and I don't think anybody is playing at a higher level. You want to say, if your argument to me this morning is, Adam, I think Mahomes is playing at the same level as Joe Burrow, I would agree.
So no one can be higher than Joe.
But no, I don't think anybody's playing higher than Joe Burrow. I don't think there's a better quarterback in the NFL right now than Joe Burrow. I don't. And when you want to talk to me about Burrow and Mahomes, it's them two and everybody else.
And we don't,
nobody else is in that combo.
It's not like I'm gonna sit here and tell you you're stupid for picking Joe Burrow. I'm trying to comprehend.
But you got to let go of what he's accomplished, right?
It's not about what he's accomplished.
I can't control that. What I'm telling you is right now, who's playing at a higher level? Right now, who's won in Buffalo? Who's won in Arrowhead? Who's gone to back-to-back AFC title games? And again, I'm not discrediting Patrick.
Right.
But having said that,
Mahomes,
I got to give Mahomes credit, right? I'll make the argument. I'll make the argument for you, buddy. 40 plus touchdowns.
There you go.
No number one wide receiver outside of Travis Kelce.
There you go.
But what they do this year that they haven't done before, they ran the ball very well. Isaiah Pacheco was a hell of a pickup. It balanced their offense completely. Him and Jarrett McKinnon coming out of the backfield. Right. I know it's like Jared Goff a little bit. And here's where I'm going with it. You look at the offense and the way it's built with Andy Reid, they just know where to pick you apart, right? Just like the Lions. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who's involved. You don't need a true number one, do you? You don't really need it. It's St. Brown for the Lions. It's Kelce for the Chiefs. But we can live without it because we got a backfield where I can hand it off to McKinnon or Pacheco. I can throw it to McKinnon. But I know they're not household names. Again, I agree.
Not like Joe Mixon. No, not a household name
like that. Not like Joe Mixon,
right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
But who's also doing it with 3 offensive linemen that have been out for, 7-8 weeks now? They're starting 3 offensive linemen. Joe Burrow. With no run game in Buffalo. Joe Burrow. Who picked Buffalo apart? Joe Burrow. Again, I'm only looking at right now. I'm not talking about his 17-week season where Mahomes was the MVP.
Last
season. I'm not talking about Mahomes' MVP season this year. I'm talking about right now. how do you not look at Joe Burrow?
Yeah, no. If you're basing, okay, you know what? Based on this last performance, especially,
not even the last week,
you're absolutely correct. The win over the Bills was more impressive than a win over the Jags. Even Mahomes on one leg, 2 passing touchdowns, by the way, 22 of 30, by the way. But anyway,
the worst
that's
secondary
not the point.
in the NFL, by the way.
That's not the point. What you're saying is correct. The performance against the Bills. Yeah, the level that he's playing at right now, it's a very extremely high level. But to say he would take him over Mahomes based on just how he's playing lately,
this is the argument I don't like. The real Colin 77 says 5 straight AFC title games. Dude, Mahomes has been a starting quarterback for 2 years. You can't bring that to me. You can't. When Joe Burrow's been a starter, it's been him and Patrick Mahomes in the title games. They've owned it.
Yeah.
It's been both of them for 2 years in a row. I go off that 2-year sample. And then in this 2-year sample, who's been the better quarterback? To me, it's been Joe Burrow.
Can I give you a scenario? And this is really unfair, but I just want to hear your answer.
Go for it.
Because this is going to sound...
Go for it. No, because you know what the answer is going to be. Go for it.
You know what I'm about to say, aren't you?
Yeah, go for it. It's okay.
Head-to-head, neutral field, switch teams. Who wins? Mahomes with that Bengals offense, Joe Burrow with the Chiefs right now. Neutral field.
Okay.
We don't got to bring in home field or nothing like that.
Hear me out. I could make an argument that Joe Burrow has a much better pocket presence than Patrick Mahomes. Is that fair or not fair? His ability to slide in and out of the pocket, left and right, up and down. I would make the case Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
and why that's important.
Going through progressions.
Why that's important.
Yeah, I would agree.
Is because Cincinnati right now is working with no offensive line. Now you can make the case. I've seen what Mahomes has done with weapons. I've seen Tyreek Hill. I've seen Travis Kelce. I know he would deliver. But I also know that Joe Burrow has played at times without Jamar Chase this year and averaged over 325 yards a game when Jamar Chase was out of the lineup. And T. Higgins was struggling with his back and his hamstring. And it was Tyler Boyd. And it was Irwin, or whoever the fuck his name is. So, again, you're right. I've seen it more with Mahomes. But the last 2 years, man, I think it's closer than people would bet.
It is.
I really
close.
do.
Again, this isn't a.
I really do.
This isn't a crap on either one. I'm not going to say anything bad about Joe Burrow. He's an excellent quarterback, like you said. Other than Mahomes, they're the two best. I laugh because we have this conversation every year. There's always a Herbert, an Allen, now a Burrow that everybody tries to crown the next guy, and I think Burrow deserves it. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying Joe Burrow's the next guy.
But I just think it's unfair to
Joe Burrow
take
isn't the next guy.
off a throne he hasn't done anything to remove himself from.
See, I would disagree. I think when you talk about Herbert, I think when you talk about Allen, these are guys that have not had substantial success. Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. He's that fucking guy. He's that fucking guy.
And by the way, no offensive line. We've seen what Mahomes can do. He almost damn beat the Bucs.
You saw last year. Who had the worst? Who was sacked the most in the NFL last year?
It was Joe Burrow. So don't act like Mahomes has never gotten. I mean, they fixed that offensive line in 1 year. You see, that was after the Bucs Super Bowl.
And they drafted the best, I believe, best center in the NFL.
But that was after. That was like 3-4 years of not having an offensive line.
I understand, but I've also seen Mahomes get dominated when he doesn't have an offensive line in the Super Bowl in the biggest game of the year with Hill, with Kelce. So. I think we're going to agree to disagree here.
I'll have to. Yeah, you can keep Burrow.
But when you tell me we always try to crown the next guy, I disagree.
No, it's
because
true.
I think Mahomes, when he came into the league, he was an MVP. He got to Super Bowl, I think, his second year, won it. Then it was the Super Bowl again, lost. Got to the title game last year, lost, and then the title game this year. 5 straight AFC title appearances. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay, what does that mean? That means since he's been in the league, he's been running it. But Mahomes hasn't been in the league Burrow hasn't been here that long. And he's been running it. And your guy has yet to prove he can get past him. In only his 2-year window.
They faced once in the postseason.
It was an AFC
title game. It's been like a 5-year stretch of Burrow beating him every single year.
I understand, but it's 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes, which not many quarterbacks can say. Hell, I could say none could say. And he did it in Arrowhead for the AFC title game.
Right.
And he's going to do it again this year, potentially. Think about that. I'm only going on his 2 years.
That's in his 2 years. 2 years, by the way.
And in his 2 years, if you want to tell me, Adam, we're trying to crown the next guy. No, I'm not. I think Mahomes is one of the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
See how you did that?
You say it like it's a bad thing. But you can put him at 1. I'm not going to hate you for it. I think he's exceptional.
I don't see how you don't put him at 1. Like, what has Mahomes done to be taken? Oh, okay. All right.
Because nothing that Mahomes hasn't done. Mahomes has done it all. I just would prefer Joe Burrow.
Okay. Oh, well, you just said it. Your preference.
It's a preference.
I get
yeah,
that.
I'm not sitting here saying statistically Joe Burrow's a better quarterback.
That's
He's
fine.
actually
No,
not.
listen, you can have
right.
your
Yards,
preference.
Mahomes has them. Touchdowns, Mahomes has them. Interceptions, they throw roughly around the same amount of interceptions. I believe Burrow has a higher completion percentage rate in his career. But you want to go to other major statistics like passer rating, they're very similar.
Right.
Mahomes has a few edges on him. But I'm looking at 2 seasons right now. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing a quarterback who's playing at a higher level than Joe Burrow.
And I'm not going to get angry at you for that. I think it's bad timing because now you got a game this weekend with a banged up Mahomes and the Bengals playing red hot.
See, but I'm not going to hold that against Mahomes.
Okay, I was going to say because
I don't do that.
I'm going to be ready for
but
you.
I'm not going to do it just to fit my narrative because I think if you told me Joe Burrow, was selected number 1 overall, I would take off all my clothes and I would run to the podium at number 2 for Patrick Mahomes, and vice versa.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, I agree. Mahomes went 1, I'd run up to the podium naked for Joe Burrow. So
this is the conversation.
Yeah,
man.
we agree.
This isn't really much of a disagreement.
No.
More so, again,
I
it's
just
my
like poking
preference.
you because
I get it, but I'm not going to go in the direction of if Joe Burrow wins this weekend. That means Mahomes is washed up.
I know, that's
Shut
such a lazy take.
How about you
man.
win a Super Bowl first, buddy? Because that's what Mahomes has done, right?
Right.
So I'm going to hold him to a standard, but you're asking me who I think has played the best football the last 2 years? I do think it's Joe Burrow. I think he's been the best quarterback since last season. You could have made the case for Stafford last year because of the run he had, but if we're all honest with each other, no, it's been Joe Burrow. And Mahomes put on a hell of a show this year. He put on a hell of a show. MVP season, no Tyreek Hill. But you told me, could I flip the quarterbacks and get the same results? How do you think Joe Burrow would do with Andy Reid? How would Mahomes do with Zach Taylor? Who's made the other more? I would argue Joe Burrow's made Zach Taylor because I've seen what he is without him. I know Andy Reid without Mahomes. He was a multiple-time NFC championship appearing coach.
But also
20 years.
But
to
how long did it take him to win a Super Bowl?
Titles. It took him up until he got Patrick Mahomes. I get it. But he got to a Super Bowl with Matt.
I get
McNabb,
it. He
one
got
with
there
Alex
before.
Smith,
Yes.
one with Michael Vick. It didn't matter who.
Right.
So we want to flip. Let's consider coaching too. Let's take a break. When we get back, top of the hour coming up. Good conversation, Jeff. When we get back, what should the Detroit Lions do at quarterback in 2023? My good friend Ryan Ermanni and Tom Mazaway made the case that the Lions should bring home Tom Brady. We're going to have that conversation next, and I'm going to have that conversation, but somebody has to talk about it, so here we are. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com, as always. We're here with the Monroe Street Midway. Wow, God damn it, Adam. Head downtown for the Monroe Street Midway, puck putt. Winter bumper cars, you name it, they've got it. Fish, are you still going with stick or no?
I think that's the goal.
When?
I don't know.
I want to make sure when I go, you're not there.
Oh my God.
Well, we haven't figured out a date. It's probably going to be like middle of February.
All right, well, let me know so I don't show up at the same time.
So is she going to take that?
What?
has
He
no
doesn't
choice.
want to show up at the same time? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have
look
a
at
choice
Fish.
anymore.
He's definitely someone who just takes it, you know?
Wow.
Okay, well, I don't think about that.
All right, moving on.
Let's talk football now.
We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show.
Do you want Tom Brady at the Detroit Lions? Let's talk about it.
All right. The simple answer is no, hell no. God, no. Please, dear God, no.
Do you want my
no.
reasoning? Okay. I'll just mute my mic now.
Oh, let me hear your reasoning. What do you got? Make it good, Fish.
No, I mean, I don't have to have you guys don't want
No, Fish. I'm Brad Holmes. Fish. I'm Brad Holmes. Pitch me Tom Brady.
Well, I don't want Tom Brady, by the way. I will preface by saying that. But people who do want Tom Brady, I would think that they think it's a win-win.
How is it a win-win?
Because you bring Tom Brady in, and if he sucks, you bring on the backup.
You think
because some people hate golf already.
You think golf would stick around as a backup?
Well,
like,
no.
Realistically.
No. That's why I'm saying you bring in the backup, whoever you pick.
So
some people don't like golf.
Okay,
So that's
Tom,
why they're saying
we're
it's a
just gonna call him
win-win.
out by
That's
name.
why I
Tom,
think it's a win-win.
Tom, shut the fuck up, Fish. Tom and Ryan.
You notice most people who
Shut the
hate
fuck up,
golf
Fish.
want Brady because they don't like golf. They think
Shut
golf
the hell up.
sucks.
And
They think he's a terrible passer.
That's
They
valid.
think
Shut the
he
hell up,
can't
Fish.
throw more than 10 yards down the
Shut
field.
the hell up and mute your mic.
I give you some great points there.
Shut the hell up.
You did.
There are no great points.
I told you I don't want Brady. I said I don't want Brady.
Shut the hell up.
Fish doesn't want Brady, but he's making
Mute
the
your
point.
mic.
He's trying to.
I don't want gonorrhea, but here's why I think you should get it.
Could do
Jesus Christ. Tom and Ryan. Number one. All right, let's just clear the air here.
Jesus, man.
Tom Brady to Detroit makes no sense. Okay, let me walk you
Stupidest thing
guys
ever.
through this very slowly. I hope you can understand. Tom Brady to the Detroit Lions makes no sense. Tom Brady, I'll say it a little slower, Ryan and Maz, because I know it's a little slow up there for you guys. You're getting a little old. Tom Brady to the Detroit Lions makes no sense.
Agreed.
You dumb fucks. And I love you guys. I work with you. Love you guys so much. Why? Why? You had a quarterback that just threw for over 4,400 yards. 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. For an aging quarterback who can't even keep his wife and his house together. Why? Why do I want him? What do I have to pay him? The money doesn't make sense. The idea of bringing in a Tom Brady to be your backup is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of in my life. The idea of bringing him as a starter over Jared Goff is the dumbest fucking idea ever. Why? Because Jared Goff is locked up for the next 3 years. He's 28 years old. I'm not worrying about him going into retirement, doing his TB12 program. Get the fuck out of here. You miss me with the idea of Tom Brady in Detroit.
Yeah.
I would rather trade the 6th overall pick, the 18th overall pick, and Aiden Hutchinson if it meant not getting Tom Brady in Detroit. For nothing. I would rather draft a kicker at 6 than sign Tom Brady at quarterback. What the hell are we doing? Now, you want to have a conversation. Oh, could this happen? Whatever, I get it, you know. It's that time of the year you got to talk about something. I get it, all right? But this to me is so unacceptable. This is so unacceptable. This is absurd. You have a quarterback that has shown that he can be a very good option for you for years to come. And you want to throw it away for some old fuck who was 8-9 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
In a bad division.
In a bad division, your quarterback won more games. And you could argue their team had more talent. So what is it? Huh? What makes you so horny for Tom? Ryan? Mass? Anything? What, because Pro Football Talk released a report?
I was going to say.
Fuck Pro Football Talk. Everything they release, 90 to 95% of it is just wrong. If Pro Football Talk comes out tomorrow and says that Brad Holmes is considering trading the number 6 overall pick, that means there is no chance we're trading back. Or up. 0 chance. Not going to happen. Listening to Pro Football Talk for any legitimate news is like going to CNN or Fox and saying, what's going on in the world today? What's important? Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh. It's like, you know what? I don't even want to get mad. Ryan, Maz, I'm so disappointed in both of you.
And real quick, too.
Disgust me.
Speaking, because they did mention it on, Ermanni and Edwards, which that is true. But it was actually originally posted, not just by Pro Football Talk, by Florio and Sims, but they actually talked about it. And you know what they mentioned? Sims said the best destination, or he said one of them, is Detroit because of the offensive line, the weapons.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves. King Yehuda, you can go fuck yourself too. People forget how awful Goff looked during the Lions when they were 1-6. King Yehuda, do me a favor. 34915. Drive through the winter storm and come suck my balls, buddy.
Ow.
Because you had a top 2 offense through the first 5-6 weeks of the season. So do me a favor and shut the hell up. Jared Goff was not your problem during the 1-6 start. Your defense not being able to force a fucking punt against Seattle was the problem. Your coach kicking an onside kick in the third quarter and giving Philly an extra possession going into the first half was a problem. Your coach fumbling a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter against Minnesota was a problem. Swift and St. Brown hurt and out for New England was a problem. Same for Dallas, losing St. Brown on the first play. A problem. Jamal Williams fumbling at the goal line. Problems everywhere. And you want to point to Jared Goff.
I'll tell you what.
That is fun.
They won more games than the Bucs, and they had a worse defense. So it is what it is. The Bucs went to the playoffs, and I saw a couple comments too, like, well, Brady went to the playoffs, Jared Goff didn't. Brady won a division at 8-9. Like, are we forgetting that? Like, he won the worst division in football. You can argue I'm not. You can't even say that. Goff. Oh God, Goff's 28 years old. He had a better season statistically. I get Brady had the most completions this year of his whole career, but still, it's because they couldn't run the football. That's why they see the Lions as an ideal destination for Tom, because how they can run the football with that offensive line, they can protect him. But no, I'd rather have Jared Goff. I don't want Brady next offseason thinking, is he going to retire or is he not? You're selling your soul for 1 year with Tom, probably, at a Super Bowl run. You think this team's ready to compete? No, they're not. Now, would they be better slightly with Tom than Goff?
Don't say yes, they would. They wouldn't. Please don't say yes.
I mean, I'll ask you this. And Goff was 5-1 in the division, but if you're playing big games on the road, you'd have more confidence in Goff than Tom Brady? And I'm not saying...
Yeah, because I saw Tom Brady get his ass kicked in the playoffs by the Dallas Cowboys. At home.
All I'm saying is
we're not talking about Tom Brady TB12 back in his prime. So we're talking about a 46-year-old quarterback.
And that's the big argument. 46 years old, I'm not. Tom, at this point in his career, I'm not interested. I'm just not. I'd rather have Jared Goff right now. I just would. So, and I can't believe I'm saying that, by the way, but it's the truth.
Guys, Tom Brady would not be a backup here. I really think some of you are either really stupid or mentally challenged.
Brady would never be a backup. That would never
the idea
happen.
That he can teach Goff anything. I'm flabbergasted. Some of you are actually considering this.
Yeah, I would stay away from
I told you why, and you just left my reasoning to dry. So I won't say it again. I'll just shut my mouth and goodbye. I mean, sometimes I have good points, and I try to bring them to the table, and when you guys reject it, and when they come around in maybe 2, 3, 4 years... Who made that? Fish made that comment. Wow. Shocker. Alrighty. Back to sports.
Love Fish.
Fish, we might move you to the 2 o'clock show.
No, don't.
Why?
We're not doing
I don't know if I
want
want to be on the 2 o'clock show.
You guys are unbelievable. Guys, I'm not telling you Joe Burrow. Jared Goff.
I did say I didn't want Brady.
Shut the fuck up, Fish.
I said I didn't want Brady.
Shut the fuck up and mute your mic, buddy. Not another word.
Just because I make a point
Not
for
another
Brady
word.
doesn't
no
mean
one's talking to you. Mute
I
your
love
mic.
the 2 o'clock
Mute
show.
your mic. I'm not talking to you. Mute your mic.
I don't hate them, by the way, either.
Mute your mic.
So we're clear.
Ooh, from downtown.
This kid's going to be the end of me.
I love you, Fish. You're the man.
I don't love you, Fish.
He's got a bat. Oh, God. Look at this little side-by-side cam. Isn't this the greatest thing on the planet Earth?
Westfall, one of the best TDs in the world.
Yeah, if only he could show up on time at his job. Mute your mic and get that camera off the screen, please. Back to the conversation at hand.
That jump shot was money.
You're the best, Alex.
It was a horrible jump shot. He would have airballed it.
Or I would have.
He's got no strength to get that ball to the hoop. Stop it. God, my head is hurting.
Oh,
what are we doing?
Man.
Detroit, honestly, look at me. Look at me real quick. All right. I'm going to do my best to not get upset right now and just have an honest conversation with you, okay? I don't want to be mean. I don't want to yell. I don't want to swear. Okay? Why? Why Tom Brady? Why? 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 You're building something. You're building something so nice. And you're going to put $50-60 million into 2 quarterbacks? Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I'm really trying not to swear, but I'm getting really frustrated. I'm trying not to get frustrated.
What
are we doing? This is such a beautiful, smart, intelligent, cunning sports town. Sports town that's witnessed the Bad Boy Pistons, the Going to Work Pistons, the 84 Tigers, even the 2000 Tigers. 2006, the run in the early 2010s. You've seen some historical teams, not to mention the Red Wings, who've dominated the NHL for, what, a 25-year span? Who in my lifetime were only ever in the playoffs? Come on. You know your sports. Don't fucking sit here and tell me Tom Brady to the Detroit Lions at their stage is a good idea.
No. And if I'm Brady, wouldn't you go to a team that's ready to contend right now? I mean, why the hell would you even look at Detroit? You have probably 1 season left in your career, and you're going to go to Detroit. This team isn't ready to contend for a Super Bowl right now. It just doesn't make sense for both sides. I mean, if you're Detroit, I wouldn't want Tom Brady. You're forking over probably most of your cap.
Brady to Detroit makes no sense.
It makes zero sense.
You won't be able to afford your draft picks. You won't. What are you going to do with Jared Goff?
You know what's funny, too? Can I just bring this up before we go to break in a little bit? Florio and Sims, you know what's the funniest thing? I think Florio brought this up. He's like, imagine Brady in Detroit. Ford Field, you'd pack Ford Field every week.
I don't know. Ford Field seemed to sell out just fine this year.
It was packed every week. I just love when people
Thanks for the exciting, intelligent insight there, Florio. Wow, I didn't know.
Guys that don't know anything about
the Lions. Seemed like the Lions
were
selling out from what I was watching down the stretch.
Makes no sense.
What do you know? When your team wins, people buy tickets. What a surprise. Adam, would you rather have Tom Brady on the Lions or Malik Willis?
Ooh.
I'd rather have Malik Willis. Cost me nothing.
Cheaper. Yeah, he's not
Cost me nothing.
Pick. Actually, that's fair. Yeah.
Oh, dear God, help me. Please, God, give me the patience to deal with stuff like this. Ryan and Maz, you owe me a public apology for wasting 13 minutes of my life.
You owe me a public apology.
You owe me a public apology. I expect it no later than 5 p.m. Eastern time today. Having said that, we'll come back with confidence levels for all the NFC teams. Jeff and I will give our confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10. What we think of trajectory, current status, projection of the future. Are they regressing? We'll go through all the NFC teams, and it'll give you real insight into why the Detroit Lions next year are going to be at the players' table. We'll have that conversation next, but before we do, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. What are you waiting for? Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, no appointment necessary. Their awesome stylists will take care of you like they take care of me as always. So get to a local Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Let me tell you about my good friends over at Matrix Home Solutions, the most professional, organized, and talented contractors in the business. An A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. Looking to renovate your basement, bathroom, kitchen, who knows? Give them a call, 888-594-8844, or visit matrixhomesolutions.com. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate. Jeff, I want to go through all these NFC teams, and I want you to give me your confidence level, okay, of each team. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up, okay? I think it's very important because this will offer context to where we see the Detroit Lions heading into the next calendar year, okay? You go to the NFC side. This is tricky, but nonetheless, we'll start at top or bottom. Your call.
Start the bottom.
Bottom? Okay.
Save the best for last.
All right. Chicago Bears, your confidence level in them moving forward in their rebuild with what they have currently, projecting for next season. Your confidence in them to have success next year?
No.
1 to 10. Give me a number.
0. Maybe like 2.
All right. Well, you're being how I would answer. So we will agree. I'm going to go 0 as well. So we'll do 0 to 10 just so it fits in. The Arizona
0.
Cardinals.
I think like a 4. Maybe they can get depending. I have to see who they hire as a head coach.
Who they hire as a head coach. They have talent on offense.
Yes.
The defense needs some work.
Kyler's going to miss a couple games. I could see him winning 6, 7, 8 games. I mean, I'll say
it's a weak NFC.
I'll say a 5, a 6. I'll put it on a scale.
I'll give them a 5. I'm halfway there with them.
Yeah.
All right, the Los Angeles Rams returning with potentially Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, who knows, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not sure how much confidence I do have. They don't have the same defense. They're missing so many pieces. The cap has gone to shit. They have no draft capital. I've got maybe a 5 out of respect for the coach, quarterback, and the playmakers they have. That's about it.
I'm going to say 7 because I think they can get 10 wins. I really do.
In the NFC?
NFC, yeah. Like max, maybe 10 wins. 9, 10 wins. And I think that's enough, especially in the NFC. So give me a 6 or 7. I'm cool with that.
All right. The Atlanta Falcons. 7-win team last year. No quarterback. What do you got?
Ooh, yeah, I got to say a 3. I would say 3. They got to figure out the quarterback position. They got nice pieces on offense, but I don't think with Desmond Ridder or going forward what their plan is at quarterback. So I'm going to say 3-4 with the Falcons.
I'm going to give them a 4. I like what Arthur Smith is doing, but they need so much help on offense and a lot of help on defense. 7 wins in a awful NFC. I think this is the conversation we're probably going to have with the next 4 teams. It's New Orleans, Carolina, Green Bay, the Commanders. I'll go in quick order here because I want to focus on the good teams. New Orleans needs a quarterback. I'm concerned. Carolina needs a quarterback. I'm concerned. And they need a head coach. Okay, Green Bay, losing Aaron Rodgers, no salary cap. He's gone. He'll restructure. He'll go somewhere else. I think he's out of Green Bay. I'm not confident in Green Bay next year. I'm going to give him a 5. Washington Commanders. I don't like Ron Rivera. The idiot didn't even know that they were eliminated from the playoffs. I'm going to pass on Washington next year. I think they'll be a 4 or 5 win team next year, and they're going to need a quarterback.
And they're probably going to start Sam Howell for the entire year.
I think teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The bottom 8 teams in the NFC, only the Rams you could make the argument because of the health they'll have next year. But even then, I don't think they're uber talented. It's an aging team, an aging O-line. They can't run the football. They don't have the defensive players they had in years past. I'm going to pass on them too. But I want to focus on these teams now, okay? So let's skip all these guys. Your confidence level in the Detroit Lions heading into next season.
It's got to be 9 or 10 because of how they finished. It's not just
this answer.
We're a Detroit-based show. It's because of how they finish. If you go 8-2 down the stretch and you win multiple road games, you beat the Packers, knock them out of the playoffs, and the way they played collectively, there's no reason not to have confidence moving forward. And I take into consideration the assets they'll have as well. So, give me a 9 or a 10 for the Lions. I really do believe that.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to give them a 9. I think the confidence level, I have zero doubts that the Lions won't be very successful next season for all the reasons you stated. Not only a weakened NFC, a weakened division, which we'll get to in a little bit with the Vikings. This has Lions written all over it next year. The Seattle Seahawks, 9-8, looking to pay Geno Smith. They're picking 4th overall, thanks to a beautiful trade they made with Denver. Confidence level in them having success next season. I'm going to give them a 7. I think they can repeat wildcard success. I do. I do think this can be a wildcard team. Pete Carroll proved it this year. They're going to need to get a little better on defense, more consistent. But Tariq Woolen, some of the guys they've drafted, they've hit. They're going to be a good team next year. I'm confident in them to be at least a wildcard team. Fair?
Fair. And I would probably agree with you as well. I think they're good enough to make it back. I'm kind of in the middle of the pack on them. I think we kind of share the same sentiment, so I'll agree with you. I'll give them the same score.
All right, the New York Giants need a quarterback.
They do.
Need a lot, but they made the playoffs this year. They won a playoff game. I'm going to give them, just like Seattle, a 7 out of 10, not because of the roster, but because of the coach. I'm confident in the coach. They'll figure it out next season. I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. I think they can fight again for a wild card spot, but nothing more than that. They still need a ton of help. They need wide receivers. They need a quarterback. There's a lot to build in New York. Shocked that they even made the playoffs, let alone won a playoff game in year 1 under Brian Daboll. What do you think?
I would agree. I think they're going to bring back Saquon. I think they're going to want to bring back Daniel Jones. I like Daniel Jones. I don't think of him as a top-tier quarterback, but still, he's good enough to win games. I think they can repeat what they did this year. They had more talent. They won 9 games this year, which is crazy to say because you expect improvement, but do you expect the Giants to improve and win 10 games? Probably not, but I think they can do what they did this year and get back into the playoffs. I really do.
All right. Oh, man. Next team is tricky. The Dallas Cowboys, 12-5 this past season, won a playoff game, but because of Dak Prescott, I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. That's my confidence level. I can easily see Dallas losing 3 more games next year and going 9-8 and barely making the playoffs. I think they're good enough. They're talented. But I don't see a 12-win team again next year. They were 8-1 at home. I don't think they repeat that. They were 4-4 on the road. I think they'll have a losing record next year on the road. I'm not confident in Dallas. Kellen Moore has really been regressing. I'm going to pass on the Dallas Cowboys. I think they'll be a wild card team. Again, I think they'll be a wild card in this NFC. But I think 9-8. I think they regress. I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm probably going to lean the same direction. I'll give him a 6. And the reason why teams that are around 5, 6, 7, it's like, do you have confidence they'll take a big next step? No. But do you think they could repeat what they did this year? Yes. So I'm going to agree. I'm going to give them a 6 or 7. I'm with you.
All right, the next team I find very, very, very interesting. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm giving them a 1 out of 10. Yeah. I think they're rebuilding next year.
Definitely.
I think they'll be a 2-3 win team. They might be the worst team in the NFC next season. I'm all out on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll give them a 1 out of 10, Jeff.
Well, don't sleep on Kyle Trask. No, I'm just joking. They're screwed. They're completely screwed. They're going into a rebuild. Tom Brady's out of there. We'll see how the future of Todd Bowles holds up. I'm going to go 1. I'll go 1 more high. I'll go 2. How about that? I'll be a little more friendlier to the Buccaneers, but regardless, we agree they're heading into a disaster of a rebuild.
So now the teams with the 3 best records in the NFC this past season. All right, I want to start with the Eagles and Niners before we get to the Vikings. Eagles, I'm going to give a 10. Niners, I'm going to give a 10. I think they're the cream of the crop. They are the best 2 teams in the NFC. They will be again so next season. I have no doubts, even with Brock Purdy. It doesn't matter who. I trust Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
Nick Sirianni, what he's done with Jalen Hurts. He's emerging as a top 5 quarterback in this league. I have no doubts about the Niners and Eagles. I'm giving them both 10s. I think rightfully so, they'll be 1 and 2 again next year.
Yeah, they're going to be right back in the conversation. The big thing for the Eagles and the 49ers, well, the 49ers are a little different because they have Brock Purdy, who they're really paying minimal money to for the next couple of years. But the Eagles, they might lose some guys in free agency. I still think they'll be back next year. I think they can even win their division next season. I like them better than the Cowboys. Hurts is still on his rookie contract. They're going to have to give him an extension soon, but I think the Eagles and the 49ers, I'm with you. I'll give them both a 10. I think they'll still be contending next season for that NFC.
Now, this is where everything comes full circle. The Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, your confidence level. I'll start 6 out of 10. 11-0 in one possession games, not sustainable. Kirk Cousins continuing to flop in primetime appearances. Shocker, shocker. A defense that hasn't gotten any better, and they don't even have much cap space to work with. And they're going to have to release some veteran players like a Dalvin Cook or an Adam Thielen to even make some room for money. Are they going to re-sign Hawk? That's going to cost you some money. I'm not confident in the Minnesota Vikings to be 13-4 again. I think Minnesota next year, at best, could be 10-7. 10-7 in this NFC. I'll give them a 6 out of 10 rating in terms of confidence. I like Kevin O'Connell as a coach. There's some things he needs to improve on as well, but I don't see them winning 11 games again in one possession game. It's not going to happen. No. They'll be lucky to be 6-5 in them. Give me the Vikings to go 10-7 next year. Early prediction now before the draft and everything in free agency. We'll see what happens, but right now I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10, and that's why, outside of the Niners and the Eagles, who did we give the highest confidence rating to?
The Lions. It lines up with what we've been preaching. Yeah.
Literally just went through every NFC
That's
team,
it.
And now you know why.
And that's why I'm gonna give the Vikings, and I did this on purpose because I'm petty. I'm giving them one below the Lions. I give the Lions a 9. I'm gonna give the Vikings a 7 or an 8.
I gave them lower, man. I gave them 6.
And I hear what you're saying. I don't think they're gonna win 13 games. No way. But I think they could win 9 or 10 games. I still think they'll be a decent team next year. They just got to fix some pieces on defense. But it lines up with what we've been preaching, which is I think the Lions will be a more complete team, and I think they'll be better next season. So, yeah, I mean, you got them at 6. I'll put them at 7. How about that?
Fair enough. No problem. We'll take a break when we get back. Thank you for the conversation, by the way. That was very, very nice. What would Jeff do? We're going to play a little game. What would Jeff do? AFC and NFC title game edition, okay? I'll ask you some questions. You tell me what you do, and I'll tell you if I think you're stupid or if I think you're spot on. Fair?
Fair.
All right, let's do it. Coming up next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
All right, let me tell you about our friends at Cintron because, guys, it is an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages and premium bottled water. Cintron is fashionable, functional, and fun. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Cintron is your top choice. Follow Cintron and drink it at drinkcintron.com. Cintron is also available at Amazon.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Let me tell you about our friends at Alta, because at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live at woodwardsports.com. What would Jeff do? Let me play a little game. What would Jeff do? Jeff Iafrate, your first task, your first question you must answer is, what would Jeff do in San Francisco? Re-sign Jimmy G and trade Trey Lance? release Jimmy G, let him go, don't resign him, and trade Trey Lance and start Brock Purdy in the future and go all in on him, or bring back Trey Lance next year and let him duke it out in the offseason with Brock Purdy, who could be a Super Bowl champion.
Well,
what would Jeff do?
First, I'd have to see what Jimmy wants to do, because if Jimmy would be welcoming to return, I would trade Trey Lance and keep Jimmy G as a backup, because I know what this offense needs. They need guys like Jimmy G and Brock Purdy, guys that are accurate, very intelligent quarterbacks, can just go through progressions, make easy decisions, get the ball to playmakers. They don't have to, Brock Purdy's actually pretty good at extending plays, but you don't need to do that all the time. You just got to sit in the pocket and just put the ball in playmakers' hands. He does that at a high level. I would probably just roll with Brock Purdy. He's cheaper. He makes little to no money. They're undefeated with him so far. The formula's there to win games. I would roll with Brock Purdy. I would probably trade Trey Lance. Now, if Jimmy G says, I want to get the hell out of here, maybe you keep Trey. But still, you probably want an experienced backup behind Brock Purdy. So, yeah, I would probably lean with Trey.
If Brock Purdy loses to Philadelphia, what do you do? And he plays awful.
He plays awful. Then, yeah, I still think my decision stands. I'd keep Jimmy G, because we know what this
over
offense...
Trey Lance.
Yeah,
okay.
I would. Because that's what this offense needs. They don't need anything, they don't need a Patrick Mahomes. It'd be nice, but they're winning games with Jimmy G and Brock Purdy. So,
all right, I like it. I actually agree with that. I think they should move on from Jimmy G and Trey Lance, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
And they just gotta get rid of the locker room. You gotta change it up, bring in new people. Jimmy G's not worth staying on the roster for what he would cost. He's a starter in the NFL. He can go start for the Jets. He can go start for the Raiders if they want to go for him. He can go start a lot of places. So
that's why I don't
see him sticking around.
Yeah. Then probably just go sign a backup then.
All right. What would Jeff do?
Oh God.
We'll go to the AFC. What would Jeff do if Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals beat Patrick Mahomes again in Arrowhead and got to their second consecutive Super Bowl? What would Jeff do with Andy Reid and the core foundation that's been built with Travis Kelce, that defense, Chris Jones? What would you do? Would you retool? Would you rebuild? Would you go to Andy Reid and say, hey, we want to move in a different direction? I'm curious.
No,
what would Jeff do?
I wouldn't overreact and make any moves like that. I think the first move I would try and make is go and acquire a veteran receiver. They got to go out and get weapons. That's number one. I mean, Kadarius Toney, nice piece. I'm telling you right now, he's more of a gadget. He's not a number one wide receiver. Maybe they re-sign Juju, but that's what I would do. If they lose against Joe Burrow, you're seeing what the AFC has. I mean, with the Bills, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, Knox, and you have the Bengals with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. You got to go out and get weapons. So if they lose to the Bengals, that's the first thing I'm doing. Come the draft, come free agency, I'm calling teams, I'm seeing what I can get and who's available.
So here's where I'm at. I think the Chiefs have been on a special run. 5 straight AFC title games. That's so impressive. But man, they don't got much money to work with.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to trade
Patrick
somebody.
Mahomes' cap number, $47 million. Frank Clark, $29 million. Chris Jones, $29 million. Joe Thuney, $22 million. Travis Kelce, $14 million. Justin Reed, $12 million. Valdez-Scantling, $11 million. You've got 80% of your cap locked up into 4 or 5 players. That's tough. And this is what happens when you pay your quarterback. And I don't mind paying Mahomes. One of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You could argue the best. No problem. But what do you do? Because you're going to have to get young really fast. And I'm going to go... I don't change the coaching. Andy Reid, to me, is a top 3 coach in the NFL. I agree with you. But I'm looking to move some of these veteran star players for draft picks. I want more Trent McDuffies. I want more George Karlaftis. I want more Sky Moores. I want some young guys in here, Leo Chenal. Let's go retool a little bit. Let's free up some money. Go get that veteran wide receiver that you were mentioning, and let's try to get back there. Let's keep going and going. And then you go to Mahomes and you say, hey, Patrick, you want to restructure a little bit? Because we would love to be paying you 40. But man, dude, you're a $47 million cap hit right now.
I know.
And it's tough for us.
That's maybe why you look in the draft. They found Tyreek in the 5th round.
You're going to have to get younger. You're going to need picks.
Yeah, you are.
So
So
I, for the most part, agree. To me, Andy Reid's top 3 coach.
Yeah,
you don't
he ain't
even
going nowhere.
consider that. But what would Jeff do? NFC edition. All right, we'll go back to the NFC. What would Jeff do? Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles lose on Sunday. What would Jeff do with the pending free agents that are ready to go out the door and get paid in that secondary and on that defense? Because you're paying A.J. Brown. You're going to have to pay Devontae Smith soon. He's showing up on his 4th year. He'll go into his 5th year option, I think, pretty soon. No, he's going into his 3rd season. He'll be going into his 4th.
He was taking the same draft as Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep. So he's going into his 3rd season.
Yes.
Okay. Jalen Hurts, 2nd-round quarterback. I'm going to have to pay him. Jalen Hurts is going into year 3.
Yeah.
We're going to want to extend him next year.
That's probably first on my mind if they lose.
So what does Jeff do? Because the money is tied up in the defense right now.
Yes.
What do you do? Because you want to retool. You don't want to rebuild.
No.
But you want to retool. No. But you're going to have to pay Jalen Hurts, man. He's played at a top 5 level.
And that's what the Eagles have been they've done a good job doing, is drafting well and finding talent, even like a guy like Jordan Davis, guys that might not play as much, but when you lose some of these veteran pieces, guys that are going to be able to step up. So if I'm Roseman and I'm sitting there, you lose to the 49ers, the first thing I'm doing is trying to extend Jalen Hurts. I think that's the obvious one. Now, the second part of that is who do you want around him? Who's the guys that are going to stay here? And if you see guys like Devontae Smith a part of that plan, of course, you have to try and extend him, but you might have to lose a Miles Sanders. I think that's the reality of it. I mean, you might need to let him go. You're going to lose pieces. There's no way you can bring everybody back. But the first thing on their mind should be, I'm doing everything in my power to keep foundational pieces, guys that are a big reason why we got to where we got to. And to me, it's Jalen Hurts and some of those pieces on defense. But guys like Darius Slay, I mean, they have some guys that are locked up. So it's not the end of the world, but they're going to have to sacrifice some of those players. They really are. And I think it starts with Miles Sanders probably. He's probably the first one.
All right, what would Jeff do? We'll go back to the AFC. Patrick Mahomes and company beat Joe Burrow and Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow's going into year 4.
Yes.
You're going to be able to pick up the 5th year option, but you're going to have to make that deal. Remember the Chiefs signed Mahomes early? They gave him that big 10-year contract.
Yeah.
You're probably going to do something similar for Joe Burrow. But Jamar Chase is on a rookie deal, and so is T. Higgins. So the money that you invested on defense, Hubbard, Hendrickson, Jesse Bates, you got to start thinking twice now about that in your future. What's the priority for Jeff? Are you willing to sacrifice one wide receiver, meaning T. Higgins, because you're keeping Jamar Chase
there
no matter what?
Yeah.
Are you willing to give up T. Higgins to make sure you can keep that defense intact for the most part?
I think I'm letting T. Higgins go. If Joe Burrow's that dude, which we all believe he is, there comes a time, like the Chiefs had to face, where you look at their best weapon, Tyreek Hill, or arguably their best weapon, Travis Kelce's doing pretty good, and you have to just let him go. You have to make a decision, because if Joe Burrow is that dude, he's going to be fine. He's still going to have success. He's still going to play at a high level. Joe Burrow's the reason why they're in the position they're in, not specifically T. Higgins. Although he had another 1,000-yard season, he's a great receiver. But, yeah, if I'm the Bengals, you get the deal done with Joe Burrow, and whoever has to leave because of it, they leave. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think they'll be just fine. I really do.
I do too, and I think it's easy to replace T. Higgins more than it is to replace a line like Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, and Jesse Bates in the secondary.
Now, if T. Higgins would be willing to negotiate...
it's easy to say that, but T. Higgins deserves a big contract. He deserves a bag,
right? So it's not going to happen.
T. Higgins is a 1 in this league. He's just a number 2 on this team because of how talented Jamar Chase is. But to me, I think you're spot on. I think you got to be willing to move off of T. Higgins in the future if you want to keep that defense together. That's a decision you have to make. To me, Joe Burrow is the kind of guy where you might get fortunate, lucky enough, where he's willing to give you a team-friendly deal. Not many do that. Tom Brady is the exception. Mahomes took 10 years, $400 million. Rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so.
If I offered 10 years, $500 million for Joe Burrow, I would do it. I don't have a choice. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Right? He's one of those guys. But we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see what they do in Cincinnati after the season, but they got the world in front of them right now. Jamar Chase going into his 3rd season next year. T. Higgins his 4th.
He's going to
Joe
get paid.
Burrow his 4th. So we we got some action coming up for the Bengals. I can't wait to see how it unfolds, but we'll be back. KoolAid's going to join us. We'll talk some Pistons for a little bit, and then we'll get to Mailbag at 9:50. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Well, let me tell you about them, guys. Guardian Alarm, they want to help make sure you have, and they take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. They also have 24/7 professional monitoring. Call them anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you for as long as you need. They also have technology that's backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and from people that have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY OUT
Tom Brady
today.
and stupid drivers. Stay home. Stay out of the roads.
Sell them fish.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
All right, let me tell you about the inspirational journey Ryan Ermanni has made with our good friends over at Custom Health Centers. Dr. Jason and his crew have done an exceptional job. Ryan now fits into his clothing. He's more confident. You see the pep in his step when he's here doing the show at 2 o'clock and when he's at Fox 2 in the mornings. So check him out. Share his story. Get your story started today in your journey with Dr. Jason and Custom Health Centers. 844-789, dear God, 8446. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com, and we are joined by our good friend, Detroit KoolAid, Detroit Pistons beat reporter for the Woodward Sports Network. KoolAid, good morning. How are you and the family? We'll start there.
We're doing good. I appreciate you asking that, man. Rob and I were just talking about that. Rod Beard from the Detroit News, and it looks like it's gonna be a snow day. So
nice.
You know, gonna have the family around and enjoy them.
I want to know what you and Rod think. More so, what you think. How do I say this? Politely, kindly, with respect to the job you do, because you do a hell of a job.
He does.
And you know what? I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Okay. I don't spend 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of my day like you would, or Jeff, covering the Pistons, or staying up to date with them and doing the job you do, which is excellent. All I know is that whenever I watch Brandon, they fucking suck. Okay? They're bad. Yeah. And beyond the bad is the good. Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, the Killian Hayes development this year.
He was getting there.
There's some good moments. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Wait, coach. Hold on. Say Killian Hayes development again.
Killian Hayes development. Yeah,
Look at that, man.
He'll be a good bench player. He'll be a good bench player in this league. He's not a starting point guard. He's lucky to be Ricky Rubio. How about that? Or Goran Dragic.
Okay.
Lucky to be 70% of those guys.
Hey, we can break bread on that. I like that. Actually.
I don't mind that. Right?
I like that.
Cool. I give you that. It's got to be Dwayne Casey's last year, bro. You guys are talking about pouring cement, and I'll leave it to you two. You're the experts, okay? We talk about pouring cement. Who would you trust to pour cement more? The guy with an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau, 500 reviews, all 5 stars? Or some Joe Schmo that does it under the table, who had some success in his previous life, and has done nothing but suck the last 4 years.
And can I ask you,
with no offensive system, by the way.
I'm going to be his anger translator. So that's Adham. He just laid out. That's honesty. That's brutal honesty, because that's honestly how a lot of Pistons fans feel. But me and you, we obviously do a ton of content, and I want to ask you, because you recorded with, was Curtis on, Mike Curtis on today?
Not today, last week.
So Rod was on
next week. Yep.
Okay, so you talked to Rod. Rod's the man of keeping peace, and he really is. I love Rod. Yeah. He always makes me feel a lot better. And I want to ask you, because you just got done talking to him, what's his sentiment and your sentiment on the locker room? Because it's tough when you watch a performance like that in Paris and you see the body language they're displaying, and it's almost like they pretty much threw their hands up. I mean, you saw the frustrations, and then you follow that up Bob Lanier night at home. I mean, Dave Bing was on the broadcast,
bro,
and they do that. Like, they come out like, Brandon, they're number one in the NBA in first quarter points allowed. They give up 29 a game. Number one in the NBA. They come out flat. Give me some insight to you, who's around the team, and you kind of get to see, and talking to Rod. What's kind of the narrative with these players and Dwayne? Are they still completely locked in, or have they pretty much just clocked out? Let's get to the end of the season, because I don't know what to think watching this team on national television. I don't.
Yeah, listen, I'll start here. That watch the other night at home, that was a tough one, man. I put it into the post-game report. That was a tough one to watch. 150 points on your home court. Oof. You can't do that on any level, and honestly, they back that up as well, but you don't really want to hear them say that every single time that it happens. Sitting in the press conferences and such. The overwhelming notion that I get, the overriding notion, is that the players are disappointed in themselves. There are some players who, irregardless of what the roster was supposed to be when they had everybody there, thought that they were going to be able to make a certain type of impact.
They're too young and naive to know what good coaching is, so they don't get it, and they think it's all their fault.
It's an interesting
Or they're
thing.
accountable, which it seems like these guys.
They're trying to be accountable. You see Jaden Ivey putting a whole lot of pressure on himself, and you see Jalen Duren trying to step up and take on even more than a lot of us believed he could do to start the season. I do believe injuries are going to play a big part. Cade being out is going to have a big effect. But as it relates to zeroing in directly on Coach Casey, the word that Rod Beard used this morning, and I think is very, very fair, is disappointing. Yeah. These performances have been highly disappointing. But what we've said is we stopped just short of saying that the season's a failure, and we asked the question: has the season been a waste? And I think that at this stage in the Pistons rebuild, that's what it has to be. That's what Troy Weaver said coming in, to answer your question. Yeah. He said that this is a restore. It's not how fast we move or how slow we go. We're not letting anyone speed us up or slow us down. It's about if people are doing what we've asked them to do. And as it relates to what Troy Weaver has said about Coach Casey, he stated that Coach Casey is doing what he's asked him to do, and that his evaluation as it relates to what's going on the court, that more or less is as it relates to the player development. And when it starts to be about wins and losses is when they have the roster that Troy Weaver believes is a full complement of players.
Well, when does that happen?
Troy Weaver said in the beginning of this year, and that's a good question, that he thought he had that this season. And
yeah, but Sadiq Bey ended up being a scrub. Killian Hayes developed into a bench player. Wow, we really hit on the number 7 overall pick there.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham being out doesn't help at all. I think the win-losses are severely hurt by that, which, again, I don't even care about the wins and losses in a rebuild, but when you pitch me on improvement, Jaden Ivey, I know he's a rookie, but when is he at his best? Playmaking and attacking the basket. I don't want to see him jacking up 6 threes. I don't want to see Corey Joseph taking more attempts and more shots than my rookie. I don't want to see Hamidou Diallo doing it. I don't care about their energy. Jalen Duren, love that he's starting. 25 and 13 the other night. My goodness. Love it. But, Brandon, you can't add another top draft pick to this team because they just get younger. You got to get veteran wings. You got to bring in some veteran presence.
Yeah. They need a veteran.
You need vets coming off the bench and playing significant minutes. Not Corey Joseph and Hamidou Diallo and Kevin Knox. God, I hate my life right now.
Listen, this is why I'll level with you as it relates to the impact that I'm hoping Coach Casey can have on this team the rest of the way is their defensive intensity. Are you going to go out there and have an identity on defense? And that's something that's just simply been missing all season. And if you want to put something on a coach, your defensive intensity and the way that you go out there to attack it, whether you're skilled enough or not, whether you're young or old or a vet at this or not, that is something that as a small child, through Pee Wee, through AAU, through church league, through high school, through college, through pro-ams, that has been something that has always been linked to a head coach, is the defensive identity.
I could live with them having no
coach.
identity on defense, Brandon, if they had an identity on offense, which they don't.
Well,
everybody dribbles up the court, and whose turn is it? All
It
right,
wouldn't work,
you
though.
come give me a pick. I'm going to run around it. If no one's open, I'm going to attack the basket. And if I get stuffed, I'm going to panic and throw it back to the three-point line on a team that has no three-point shooters.
You want to see that. And if they had their full squad and that was happening, I would be more in line with, you know what, hey, at least this team is showing that they can be something so offensively good, the potential is there, that they could be similar to a Golden State and just augment with defensive specialists. But this team has to do something in the era of everyone's coming into your home court, like Jeff said, and just absolutely spreading your legs. Bro, you gotta do something to close that. You have to do something to stop that, and that's what I mean. Your identity coming in has to be, at least we're gonna nudge you when you come into the lane. There are people just walking in having layup line practice, pre-game layup line during the game. It's like they're starting the game and they're just kind of asleep, kind of like they're not awake at the wheel, and that's what Jeff was saying as well. And that's where I'm hoping as the season goes on, if Coach Casey believed this was the fire he was lighting and we see that it's not, something has to change. There has to be, like we always talk about, the ability to do something on the fly, the ability to make in-game decisions and in-season decisions to say, you know what, we don't have the same squad.
Preach to me or convince me, and me as you're speaking to every Pistons fan at home watching right now, why I should be confident in this head coach and the development of this team, because I'm just going to keep it as real as I can. Forget Casey for a second.
Yeah.
Isaiah Stewart, does he belong in today's NBA? He develops a three-point shot, but what is he at best? A guy that comes off the bench? He's not a guy that's giving you 32, 34 minutes a night.
I think as of right now, I don't really think we
He does
know.
on this team, but that's not a good thing.
I think he's...
Would you rather have Halliburton or Hayes?
I mean,
it's easy to say, but no, we're talking about where he was picked and what he's developing into. He's maybe a number 7 on the bench. He's not a 6-man. He could be a 7. Okay? So what's my starting lineup? Sadiq Bey hasn't worked out. Bojan Bogdanovic doesn't play a lick of defense. So that's 2 players in my starting lineup that need to go. I really only have Duren, Ivy, and Cade.
The hope.
What's my hope for the future?
The awesome thing is this. The hope is this: is that we sat and the content that we've continued to do as it relates to being zoomed in and being able to watch them is that we started the season here. There's 2 classes of people: people who thought this team should be to some degree a world beater, and then some people who the other class who thought this team at full strength might make the play-in. And that's where Jeff and I, Rob Beard, and a lot of us, we've had that conversation. We said, this team is just not good enough. We went and we said, even at full strength, are they better than, how many teams are they better than? We didn't even find, we barely found, what, Jeff, 5 teams, maybe? And we said Orlando might be a stretch as well. And we all stated that this window is what we all said in the beginning. If we all go check all of our tapes, including fans, everybody for the last year and a half has stated this window of win is starting next year and the season after. And that's why some of the contracts with Bojan Bogdanovic and Marvin Bagley end when? In a couple years. When this team is going to be depending even more so on guys like Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey. As it relates to offensive identity, like I said, that's always going to start and stop with Cade. But I believe as it relates to moving forward with this hope aspect, now they know that they can't just depend on that. You got to have somebody that can step up and fill in, and you hope that that's Jaden Ivey. That
well, he's
has
shown
to be the
it.
hope.
I gotta say, when Hayes is not in the lineup, I see a much better Jaden Ivey, a guy that can attack the basket, distribute the basketball, not settle for threes. I like it. But Brandon, can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for hopping on. Let's do this soon again, please.
I appreciate you.
Sooner than later. I want some more answers that I didn't get out of you, so we got to do this again, okay?
We'll talk.
Mailbag coming up in just a minute, but before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the classic meatloaf or Cajun chicken Alfredo, but how about breakfast as well? The stuffed potato pancakes are back, the Lumberjack, Santa Fe Garden, or Blockbuster. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit.
But we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your Vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com as always. Mailbag time. We'll start with Steve-O. Jeff, what's the update on Pat McAfee? It sounds like he doesn't want to come here because I asked him on his live stream if he was coming, but he didn't answer me. Steve-O, I'll answer that for you guys. They're going to do it. When is to be determined, where to be determined. They'll figure it out. Pat's a man of his word. We're not doubting that for a second. Pat's the best. His team is awesome. They have a lot of stuff pretty planned going on. They have the draft upcoming. Pat does all the shows on the weekends during the NFL season, so they'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. It'll happen. I promise you that. What else do we have here? Adam and Jeff, would you rather sit through a Matt Patricia press conference, that standpoint, or draft Jeff Okudah with every pick for the next 5 years? I'd rather sit in the Matt Patricia press conference. From that standpoint.
The 5 years is where he got me.
Not even 1 year.
Mailbag by It asks, what would be a free agent acquisition by the Lions that would really blow you away in a positive way? I think signing Levante David. I think if you could get a guy like Levante who's won a Super Bowl and has been played at a high level for a long time, I know he's a little older, but if you can get a guy like that to come to Detroit, I think I'd be impressed. Not saying he's this big fish of a free agent, but that's impressive. For a guy like Levante to be like, you know what, I'm going to go join Detroit with what they're building, to me that would be impressive. Or one of the better corners.
I don't have one off the top of my head, so I'm not going to answer.
All right.
What else we got? Let's see. Should we trade Sadiq Bey while his stock is somewhat desirable? Jeff, I'll let you answer that.
What was the question?
Would you trade Sadiq Bey with his stock currently where it's at?
It depends on what the offer was. I'm not a big fan of trading guys away early in a rebuild because that's usually what's bitten the Pistons in the ass for a long time, at least in recent history. We don't really know what Sadiq can be, but if you get an offer that you can't refuse, let's say you use Sadiq Bey and you package him into an offer where you can get an all-star player, whatever it is, along with draft picks and so on and so forth, I'm okay with it. But if you're just dumping Sadiq to a team for a first-round pick, I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't.
Garbanzo asks, Adam, 7 dudes or 1 Roseanne? Definitely the 7 dudes. Definitely the 7 dudes over 1 Roseanne, 100%. Can we agree to avoid Kelly Ringo in the draft? He is a Okudah 2.0 from what I've seen. Andrew, I wouldn't go as far as that. I would say I'd avoid Ringo at 6, though, so we can at least agree on that. Give me Devon Witherspoon or Joey Porter Jr. at 18 if you can. That's my ideal scenario. Do you see the Lions trading back or moving back, trading back and moving back in the first round? Yeah, I do. If there's a quarterback at 6, I'd love to see them trade back a few spots, grab a corner, grab a linebacker, address the defense in the first round, and we'll go from there. So exciting times, exciting times. Let's see what else we have here, Jeff. Other questions in the chat. I heard 5 guys was good, but 7 dudes, Adam? Yeah, man. Until you've gotten 7, you don't know what 5. 5's nothing, I promise.
John Parker asked Mailbag, what is the Lions' dream draft? I think...
I mean, we could do this
I know.
from now till April.
I mean, which route you want to go? I mean, Bryce Young falls to at 6, or Jalen Carter's there at 6.
Bryce Young is a dream pick.
Yeah.
Landing Jalen Carter and Joey Porter Jr. is a dream scenario. Landing Jalen Carter and Devon Witherspoon is a dream scenario. So, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Should we take Beydoun because Swift can't stay healthy and we were 0-4 when Swift wasn't playing? You guys know how I feel about running backs in the first round. It goes against every fundamental I believe in. So we'll leave it there. Appreciate all of you for joining us this morning. Drive safe. Stay safe, please, in this horrible
weather. I want you
weather.
back tomorrow,
we'll see how bad it gets. Jeff, appreciate you as always. Fish, thank you. Alex, thank you. You all drive safe on your way home today.
Drive safe.
We're out of here. See you tomorrow. Some Thursday shows. I like Thursday shows. Get some throwbacks in it, maybe. Maybe I'll come dressed up as Fish tomorrow. Who knows? You all have a great rest of your day. Like I said earlier, be safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, become a member on the YouTube channel. It's $2 a month. You get awesome emotes, sub badges, bronze, silver, gold, ruby, and then, of course, the top tier emerald green.
Wow.
Guys, check it out.
It's nice.
Make sure that you're part of the team.
And my emote's dropping.
Today.
Oh.
So I can't wait for the Jeff email.
I'm kind of nervous. I don't know what it's going to be.
We're out of here. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. Take care.
Have a happy Wednesday. Drive safe, please. I want to see you back here tomorrow.